Am I the asshole for refusing to invite my estranged mother to my wedding? Hi Reddit. Throwaway account here because my family knows my main and I need some unbiased judgment on a big family issue. I'm a 27-year-old female and I'm getting married in a few months to my wonderful fiancé, 30M. Planning a wedding is stressful enough, but family drama has made it so much worse, and now I'm honestly questioning if I'm doing the right thing. Some background. My mom, 52F, and I have had a rocky relationship for most of my life. She and my dad divorced when I was 13 after mom had an affair. Not only did she cheat, but she ended up leaving my dad and me to start a new life with the other man, who eventually became my stepfather. She moved 2 states away, had a whole new family, and basically dropped out of my life for years. It was devastating. I was a total daddy's girl, and overnight I lost my mom and saw my dad fall into a deep depression. I was old enough to understand what happened, but still too young to process it in a healthy way. I was angry and hurt. In the years that followed, Mom didn't make much effort to stay in touch. She'd call on birthdays or holidays sometimes, and I'd visit her maybe once a year during summer break, but it was always awkward and superficial. She was busy with her new husband, my stepdad, and their daughter, my half-sister Claire, now 15. Meanwhile, I was helping Dad pick up the pieces. I basically had to grow up fast to take care of him and myself. The resentment toward Mom only grew. Fast forward to now. It's been 14 years since the divorce. I've seen Mom maybe a handful of times in the last decade, mostly at a couple of distant relatives' funerals and one brief visit when I graduated college. We're polite, but there's a distance. We're practically strangers beyond the occasional phone call. Dad eventually recovered and even remarried a few years ago to my amazing stepmom, who is like a second mother to me. Mom, on the other hand, separated from the affair partner Karma and has been single for the past few years. When I got engaged last year, I hesitated to even tell my mom. In the end, I did, out of a sense of duty or maybe guilt. She was thrilled for me, perhaps overly so. She immediately started gushing about how she couldn't wait to help dress her baby girl for her big day, and how she and I should go cake tasting and dress shopping, like she assumed she'd be heavily involved. This caught me off guard. We hadn't been close in so long, and her acting like the doting mother of the bride felt surreal and uncomfortable. At the time, I just gave non-committal answers and avoided making any promises. I could tell she wanted an invitation to come visit soon to help with planning, but I never extended one. I figured I'd deal with it later. Honestly, I was inclined not to invite her to the wedding at all. The thought of her there, pretending to be mother of the bride when that role in practice has been filled by my stepmom, 48F, and my dad, just didn't sit right with me. Well, later has arrived. About a month ago, I sent out wedding invitations. I made the decision not to invite my mom. I only sent invites to the people I genuinely consider family. Dad, stepmom, my step-siblings, close relatives, and friends. Mom is noticeably absent from the guest list. It felt sad to exclude her, but also I felt it was the right decision for my own happiness. Cue the drama. It didn't take long for word to get around. My aunt, Mom's sister, apparently called Mom to innocently ask if she was excited for the wedding. Mom told her she didn't get an invite. According to my aunt, Mom ended up crying hysterically on the phone, saying she knew I hated her, but she didn't expect I'd punish her this way. My aunt also called my dad, who told her this was my decision and he was staying out of it. Next thing I know, I start getting calls and texts from that side of the family. My grandmother, Mom's mom, left me a tearful voicemail asking me to please reconsider. She said, "No matter what happened, she is still your mother and this is her only chance to see her daughter get married." That one really made me feel guilty. Then Mom herself reached out. She sent me a long email, basically begging to be invited. She apologized again for the mistakes of the past, a phrase she's used before, said she doesn't want to miss this milestone, and promised she wouldn't cause any trouble or scene. She wrote, "I know I hurt you, and I can't erase that. I never will. But I have always loved you, and watching you get married, even from the back row, would mean the world to me. Please, my name, I'm begging you for the chance to be there on your day." Reading her email made me break down in tears. For a moment, I actually considered it. I do have a lot of unresolved hurt. A part of me has always yearned for a normal mother-daughter relationship. My mom's reaching out sounded so sincere and pitiful that I felt like the villain in the story. My fiancé found me crying over the laptop. He held me while I explained, and he gently reminded me why I made this choice in the first place. He said, "This is our day. You don't owe it to anyone to make them feel better, especially not someone who's caused you pain. It's about what makes you comfortable." He also pointed out that every time in the past, I'd let Mom into an important event in my life, like graduation. I ended up anxious and distracted, worrying about her presence, instead of enjoying myself. He wasn't forbidding me or anything. He even said he'd support me if I decided to invite her, but he wanted me to remember I had valid reasons to exclude her. He's right. At my college graduation, I did invite Mom and stepdad and half-sister. She came, but it was so awkward. She tried to hug me like we were close and insisted on taking photos together, but then she left right after the ceremony to catch her flight, didn't even join us for the celebratory dinner my dad organized. That hurt a lot. It felt like I was just a box to check. And she never financially contributed to my college. Dad and my stepmom did. Yet she acted proud as if she had a hand in it. I realized then that having her at life events tends to dredge up a lot of negative emotions for me. After remembering all that, I decided to stick to my decision. Mom is not invited. I wrote her a brief email reply. I was careful with my words. I said I was sorry she's hurt, but that our relationship is very complicated and her presence on that day would be hard for me. I suggested maybe we could get dinner soon to catch up instead. Honestly, I only said that to soften the blow. I'm not even sure I want that. I haven't heard back from her yet, but I did get another message from my grandmother, urging me to let Mom come, even just to sit quietly and watch from afar. Now, some family members from Mom's side are upset with me. I got a scathing Facebook message from one of Mom's cousins basically saying, "I'm ungrateful and cruel." My own future mother-in-law even chimed in. She's a sweet woman, but very traditional about family. She gently said that while she'll support me, she feels bad that my real mom won't be at the wedding, and asked if I'm absolutely sure I'll be okay with that long term. Even my dad, who was betrayed by Mom too, asked me once, "Are you sure you won't regret not having her there? I'll support you either way, but think about it." I have thought about it a lot. Part of me worries I might regret it someday when it's too late. My mom isn't getting younger. What if she or I fell ill and never got a chance to reconcile? Would this wedding snub be something that I couldn't take back? On the other hand, I feel like I'm protecting myself. When I envision my wedding day, I picture getting ready with people who love me and make me feel safe. My stepmom, my bridesmaids, my dad popping in to give me a kiss before walking me down the aisle. That's my core family. In that picture, my biological mom just doesn't appear because she hasn't been my family in a long time. If she's there, I fear I'll be on edge, expecting drama or just feeling those old wounds opening up as I exchange vows. I don't want to be resentful on my wedding day. The family drama is really taking a toll, though. I've been having nightmares about it, like literal bad dreams where I'm at the altar and my mom storms in crying. My stress levels are through the roof, and I hate that this is overshadowing our wedding planning. My fiancé remains incredibly supportive of whatever I decide. My stepmom said she understands why I didn't invite Mom and that I shouldn't feel guilty, but I can tell even she's a bit sad for both me and my mom. I want to stand my ground, but the pressure and guilt from some relatives is wearing me down. I wonder if I'm being an unyielding asshole. Is it petty revenge for the past? Should I be the bigger person here and extend an olive branch by inviting her to potentially start rebuilding our relationship? Or would that just be caving in to make others happy at the expense of my mental well-being? So, Reddit, am I the asshole for refusing to invite my estranged mother to my wedding? Update 1. First, I want to say wow, I did not expect the amount of responses I got. I'm honestly overwhelmed reading through everyone's judgments and personal messages. It's taken me a few days to process it all. The majority of commenters said I'm NTA, not the asshole, and encouraged me to do what's right for my mental health. which gave me a lot more confidence. A lot of you also shared your own stories of difficult parents, which were heartbreaking but made me feel less alone. I even got some advice on how to set boundaries more firmly. There were a few people who felt I should invite her to avoid future regret, but even those were generally sympathetic to my feelings. Reading these perspectives helped solidify my decision. I realized that if I invited Mom solely out of guilt or fear of judgment, I wouldn't truly be doing it for us. I'd be doing it to appease others. And that's not a good reason. One comment that really struck me said, "Don't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm." I've done that far too often in my life when it comes to Mom. After gaining some clarity, I decided to have an honest, heart-to-heart conversation with my mom over the phone. It was intense, to say the least. I called her and laid everything out. I told her that her leaving left a wound in me that still hasn't healed, and that every major event, like my wedding, just pours salt on that wound because it reminds me of what I missed growing up. I explained that, right now, having her at the wedding would hurt me more than not having her there. I actually started crying on the call. And she was crying too. She apologized again, more genuinely than I've ever heard. She said she was sorry for being a terrible mother, and that she's proud of the person I became in spite of her. I won't lie, that made me cry even harder. I did not rescind my decision, though. I kindly but firmly told her I was sticking to what I said in the email. The wedding is going to be small and she will not be attending. I told her I truly hoped she could understand it from my perspective one day. She was quiet for a long time, then said, "I understand. I don't like it, but I understand. I just really hope this isn't the end of us." That broke my heart a little. I told her it didn't have to be, but that rebuilding would have to happen slowly and outside the pressure cooker of a wedding scenario. We left it at that for now. She seemed to accept it, albeit sadly. As for the rest of the family, I let my grandmother and aunt know about my decision and the conversation. Grandma was still a bit upset, but she said she loves me no matter what and just doesn't want any regrets on either side. My aunt surprisingly took my side after I described the phone call. She said me and Mom talking so honestly was a big step, and maybe not seeing each other at the wedding is for the best to avoid an emotional scene. My future MIL also understood better after I explained the depth of what happened. She only knew vaguely before. She gave me a hug and said, "Do what brings you peace. We'll make sure your day is full of love." Update 2. The wedding was last weekend, and it was beautiful. Honestly, it was everything we hoped for. We kept it drama-free. As a precaution, I had given a photo of my mom to the venue security just in case she tried to show up anyway. I wasn't expecting her to, and she didn't. But that little contingency plan helped me feel at ease. I can't describe the relief and joy I felt being in that room surrounded only by people who have been there for me consistently. My dad cried, giving his speech. My stepmom was teary-eyed, helping me get ready. And my husband, he's my husband now, was beaming the whole day. There was an empty seat we had set at the front in memory of my late grandfather. And at one quiet moment during the reception, I caught myself glancing at that seat and thinking of my mom. I did feel a pang of sadness that things aren't different. But I also felt peace with the choice I made. After the wedding, I did share some photos on Facebook, being mindful not to rub it in Mom's face, but I know she'd inevitably see them through family. Mom ended up texting me a simple message. "You looked beautiful. Congratulations. I love you." I responded, "Thank you," and left it at that. No matter what the future holds for our relationship, I'm glad there wasn't a dramatic incident overshadowing my day. So, that's where things stand. I'm writing this curled up on the couch with my new husband, about to enjoy a well-earned, relaxing weekend after all the craziness. I feel at peace. Thank you, Reddit, for helping me find the strength to put myself first in this situation.